1313672, 2513671, and 2513670. We're all set for pretrial conferences. And is there an offer that the people are making, Ms. Robinson?
Yes, Your Honor. What number did you put on there, Joe?
13673.
That's what Scott wanted.
Your Honor, the offer is that the defendant will plead to 13673. Will plead to a retail fraud first. In that case, there's an agreement.
So just the retail fraud?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's count one.
Yes, count one. I apologize. I'm trying to pull it up on two different things. And we believe that the guidelines on that plea would be, so plead retail fraud third on 13673. We will dismiss the other three cases. There'd be restitution on all four cases. He would plead to the habitual offender fourth offense notice along with the one count of retail fraud in the first degree. People preliminarily scored the guidelines on that plea at 12 to 48 months. And we would offer a cap on any upfront jail time at the midpoint of the guidelines as they are scored at the time of sentencing. And as I discussed with Mr. Greer, we would not be seeking any consecutive sentencing with the case he was, or excuse me, we wouldn't ask for concurrent sentencing. I said that backwards again. Consecutive, I was right the first time. There was a concern, he was worried that it would be consecutive to the case he pled on. I indicated we would not be asking for consecutive. I don't know that there's any authority for us to get that, but he's stuck on dead time until this case is resolved because he did plead in another case and he has been sentenced to 18 months to 30 years out of Mason County.
Okay.
So it's one count with a habitual fourth cap at midpoint.
All right. And do you have an estimate as to the restitution for all of these files?
I do not have that, Your Honor. I will get that and provide that to Mr. Greer and to the agent for the PSI as soon as I am able to get that information.
All right, Mr. Greer, has the prosecutor accurately stated the plea agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you want to enter a guilty plea, Mr. Humphrey?
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do, Your Honor.
All right, so the charge that you're going to be entering a guilty plea to in file number 2513673 reads as follows: that on or about August 1, 2025, that you were in the city of Fremont in Wake County, state of Michigan. And that was in a store or in its immediate vicinity did, while Walmart was open to the public, steal property of the store that was offered for sale at a price of $1,000 or more. This is a felony, which carries up to 5 years in prison and/or $10,000 fine, or 3 times the value of the difference in price of property stolen or money obtained or attempted to be obtained, whichever is greater, per Southern Union Company versus United States 567 U.S. 343 2012 for the court to impose an increased fine such as 3 times the value, or a fine that is calculated based on the number of incidents or length of time of the violation. The value, instance, duration must either be determined by the trier of fact or admitted by the defendant. The court may order reimbursement to the state or local government for expenses incurred in relation to the incident, including but not limited to expenses for emergency response and prosecution. Do you understand count 1, the maximum penalty?
Yes, sir.
In exchange for your guilty plea to that, they're dismissing on this file a 4-year larceny in a building, a 5-year organized retail crime. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
We'd be pleading to habitual offender fourth, which means you have at least 3 prior felony convictions. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
What the information alleges is that on or about December 28, 2011, you were convicted of retail fraud first degree in the 17th Circuit Court for Kent County. Do you have that prior conviction, sir?
Yes, sir.
2/21/2017, retail fraud in the first degree, again in Kent County. Do you have that conviction, sir?
I do, Your Honor.
And November 28, 2022, retail fraud in the first degree, Kent County. Do you have that prior conviction, sir?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, you are subject to enhanced penalties provided by MCL 769.12 of up to life if the primary offense has a penalty of 5 years or more. Maximum penalty cannot exceed or cannot be less than the minimum for a first conviction. Do you understand how the habitual offender fourth could increase the maximum penalties?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, in exchange for your plea of guilty to that, you're dismissing these 3 other files and all those charges. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
But you know restitution on all charges, all files, even if they've been dismissed as part of this agreement. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So then the other part of your agreement is that you'd be sentenced to no more than the midpoint of the advisory guidelines. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The prosecution has provided an estimate of 12 to 48 months on the minimum. Your actual guidelines could be higher or lower than that. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I'll score them at the time of sentencing after hearing from your attorney, the probation department, and the people, and we'll determine what your guidelines are at that point. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is going to be, to a certain extent, served concurrently with a sentence that you're already serving. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And I say to a certain extent is because it's not necessarily a consecutive sentence, but the time that you're serving since you were sentenced does not count towards this one.
Right.
Because you're in jail or in prison and under sentence, so your incarceration is not due to your inability to post bond.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that your complete understanding to resolve all these files?
Yes, sir.
Have you had sufficient time to consult with Mr. Greer about all these cases and this plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
And subject to the plea agreement, how do you wish to plead?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
You understand that if I accept your guilty plea, you're giving up your right to have a trial of any kind?
Yes, sir.
Do you also understand that you're giving up certain rights that you have at trial?
Yes, sir.
We've listed those rights for you on a written advice of rights sheet that you signed today. Did you read that document?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
Did you go over those with Mr. Greer?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone threatened you to get you to make this plea?
No, sir.
Has anyone promised you an outcome different than we put on the record?
No, sir.
Are you entering this plea of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that if I accept your guilty plea, you're giving up the right to later claim that this plea was not your choice?
Yes, sir.
You understand that I'm not bound by this plea agreement, but if I don't go along with it, you can withdraw your plea.
Yes, sir.
Do you now give up your right to have a trial of any kind and all the rights you would have at that trial, and do you affirm your guilty plea?
Yes, sir.
Is it true then that on or about August 1, 2025, that you were in the city of Fremont, Nuevo County, state of Michigan?
Yes, sir.
Did you go to the Walmart?
Yes, sir.
Did you go there by yourself or with somebody?
I was with someone,
Who were you with?
a cousin,
And what's that cousin's name?
Preston Humphrey. Or that might have been one of the cases that was dismissed. This one might be James McIntyre.
Yeah, that's the name on this one, James
Okay,
McIntyre. All right. And did you and Mr. McIntyre go to the Walmart with the purpose of stealing stuff?
Yes, sir.
All right, did you in fact steal some stuff?
Yes, sir.
What'd you take?
We took a lot of baseball cards.
Okay,
Football cards,
what do you mean by a lot? How much is a lot?
quite a bit. I don't even know the value of how many that were taken. There was more than $200 worth.
Well, the threshold for this one is that the property was offered for sale of $1,000.
Okay. Yeah, it was probably maybe more than that. I know it was 200 more. I know that.
Right there. We don't dispute that.
No, not at all. Yeah,
Because 1,020.
yeah, $1,100. I knew it was a lot.
Okay, and how did you do that?
Put them in the baskets that were for sale for the public and carry them out.
Okay,
And that's where the larceny came in, is because I took the baskets along with the cars.
And how far did you get? Did you get out of the building?
Yeah,
Did you get away?
yes, sir.
Okay, what'd you do with all those cars?
I got rid of them.
What do you mean by
I
that?
sold them to someone, and
Okay, what'd you do with the money?
then I supported drug addiction that I had.
Okay. And in this situation, what did Mr. McIntyre do?
He did the same exact thing as I did.
Okay, but he had a whole separate batch of cards?
Yeah, he had his own.
Okay, where's Mr. McIntyre now?
I think he's incarcerated in Navajo County, or he might be out on bond.
Okay,
I'm not positive.
so he's still going through the system.
Yes, sir.
And you previously told me that you have at least 3 prior felony convictions. And in this case, they were all for retail fraud in the first degree, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Are the attorneys aware of any promises, threats, or distance which have not been stated on the record?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Is he competent to enter this plea?
As far as the people are aware, Your Honor.
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
Is the court comply with answer 61302?
Court has, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the court finds the plea to be knowing, understanding, voluntary, and accurate. I'm going to refer Mr. Humphrey to the probation department for